This article summarizes the different branches in Islam. Sunni Islam. Sunni Muslims are the largest denomination of Islam and are known as Al-Sunnah wa unregistered trademark El-Jama H or simply as Al-Sunnah. The word Sunni comes from the word Sunnah, which means the teachings and actions or examples of the Islamic prophet, Muhammad. Therefore, the term Sunni refers to those who follow or maintain the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. The Sunnis believe that Muhammad did not specifically appoint a successor to lead the Muslim Ummah before his death, and after an initial period of confusion, a group of his most prominent companions gathered and elected Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Muhammad's close friend and a father-in-law, as the first caliph of Islam. Sunni Muslims regard the first four caliphs as al-Khulafa unregistered trademark Rashida N, or the rightly guided caliphs. Sunnis also believe that the position of caliph may be attained democratically, on gaining majority votes, but after the Rashidun, the position turned into a hereditary dynastic rule because of the divisions that started by the Umayyads and others. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire in 1923, there has never been another caliph as widely recognized in the Muslim world. Schools of Sunni jurisprudence. Madhab is an Islamic term that refers to a school of thought or religious jurisprudence within Sunni Islam. Several of the Sahaba had a unique school of jurisprudence, but these schools were gradually consolidated or discarded so that there are currently 4 recognized schools. The differences between these schools of thought manifest in some practical and philosophical differences. Sunnis generally do not identify themselves with a particular school of thought, simply calling themselves Sunnis, but the populations in certain regions will often, whether intentionally or unintentionally, follow the views of one school while respecting others. Hanafi. The Hanafi school was founded by Abu Hanifa and Nu'ayr. It is followed by Muslims in the Levant, Central Asia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Western Lower Egypt, Iraq, Turkey, the Balkans and by most of Russia's Muslim community. There are movements within this school such as Deobandis, and the Tablighi Jamaat, which are all concentrated in South Asia and in most parts of India. Maliki. The Maliki school was founded by Malik ibn Anas. It is followed by Muslims in North Africa, West Africa, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, in parts of Saudi Arabia and in Upper Egypt. The Nurabaytun world movement follows this school as well. In the past, it was also followed in parts of Europe under Islamic rule, particularly Islamic Spain and the Emirate of Sicily. Shafi'i. The Shafi'i school was founded by Muhammad ibn Idris ash-Shafi'i. It is followed by Muslims in Eastern Lower Egypt, Somalia, Jordan, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, Yemen, Kurdistan, Kerala and is officially followed by the governments of Brunei and Malaysia. Hanbali. The Hanbali school was founded by Ahmad ibn Hanbal. It is followed by Muslims in Qatar, most of Saudi Arabia and minority communities in Syria and Iraq. The majority of the Salafist movement claims to follow this school. Hayra. The Hayra school was founded by Daud al-Zahiri. It is followed by minority communities in Morocco and Pakistan. In the past, it was also followed by the majority of Muslims in Mesopotamia, Portugal, the Balearic Islands, North Africa and parts of Spain. Schools of theology. Aqda is an Islamic term meaning creed, or belief. Any religious belief system, or creed, can be considered an example of Aqda. However, this term has taken a significant technical usage in Muslim history and theology, denoting those matters over which Muslims hold conviction. The term is usually translated as theology. Such traditions are divisions orthogonal to sectarian divisions of Islam, and a Microntazili may for example, belong to Jafari, Zaydi or even Hanafi school of jurisprudence. Textualist approach, Athari. The Athari school derives its name from the Arabic word athar, meaning narrations. The Athari creed is to avoid delving into extensive theological speculation. They use the Quran, the Sunnah, and sayings of the Sahaba, seeing this as the middle path where the attributes of Allah are accepted without questioning how they are. Ahmad bin Hanbal is regarded as the leader of the Athari school of creed. Athari is generally synonymous with Salafi. The central aspect of Athari theology is its definition of tawhid, meaning literally unification or asserting the oneness of Allah. Kalam. Kalam is the Islamic philosophy of seeking theological principles through dialectic. In Arabic, the word literally means speech words. A scholar of Kalam is referred to as a mutakallim. There are many schools of Kalam, the main ones being the Ash'ari and Maturidi schools in Sunni Islam. Ash'ari. Ash'ari is a school of early Islamic philosophy founded in the 10th century by Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. It was instrumental in drastically changing the direction of Islam and laid the groundwork to shut the door of Ijtihad centuries later in the Ottoman Empire. The Ash'arite view was that comprehension of the unique nature and characteristics of God were beyond human capability. Maturidi. A Maturidi is one who follows Abu Mansur al-Maturidi's theology, which is a close variant of the Ash'ari school. Points which differ are the nature of belief and the place of human reason. The Maturidis state that belief does not increase nor decrease but remains static. It is piety which increases and decreases. The Ash'aris say that belief does in fact increase and decrease. The Maturidis say that the unaided human mind is able to find out that some of the more major sins such as alcohol or murder are evil without the help of revelation. The Ash'aris say that the unaided human mind is unable to know if something is good or evil, lawful or unlawful, without divine revelation. Murji'a. Murji'a is an early Islamic school whose followers are known in English as Majites, or Magiites. During the early centuries of Islam, Muslim thought encountered a multitude of influences from various ethnic and philosophical groups that it absorbed. Murji'a emerged as a theological school that was opposed to the Kharijites on questions related to early controversies regarding sin and definitions of what is a true Muslim. They advocated the idea of delayed judgment. Only God can judge who is a true Muslim and who is not, and no one else can judge another as an infidel. Therefore, all Muslims should consider all other Muslims as true and faithful believers, and look to Allah to judge everyone during the Last Judgment. This theology promoted tolerance of Umayyads and converts to Islam who appeared half-hearted in their obedience. The Murjit opinion would eventually dominate that of the Kharijites. The Majites exited the way of the Sunnis when they declared that no Muslim would enter the hellfire, no matter what his sins. This contradicts the traditional Sunni belief that some Muslims will enter the hellfire temporarily. Therefore the Majites are classified as Ahlul Bid'ah or people of innovation by Sunnis, particularly Salafis. Mutazili. Mutazili theology originated in the 8th century in al-Basra when Wasil ibn Ata left the teaching lessons of Hasan al-Basri after a theological dispute. He and his followers expanded on the logic and rationalism of Greek philosophy, seeking to combine them with Islamic doctrines and show that the two were inherently compatible. The Mutazili debated philosophical questions such as whether the Quran was created or eternal, whether evil was created by God, the issue of predestination versus free will, whether God's attributes in the Quran were to be interpreted allegorically or literally, and whether sinning believers would have eternal punishment in hell. Movements. Salafi. The Salafi sect or movement follows a literal interpretation of the Quran and Sunnah. They are an offshoot of the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah unregistered trademark A group. They are called Salafis, Atharis, Ahlul Hadith, Ahlul Athar, or any other description, and claim to be the only ones whose true allegiance is to the Book and the Sunnah, according to the understanding of the companions. It is a movement recently revived by the 18th century teacher Sheikh Muhammad ibn Ibadi al-Wahhab in the Arabian Peninsula, and was instrumental in the rise of the House of Sword to power. Salafism is a puritanical and legalistic Islamic movement and is the dominant creed in Saudi Arabia. The terms Wahhabi movement and Salafism are often used interchangeably, although the word Wahhabi is specific for followers of Muhammad ibn Ibadi al-Wahhab who are the right wing of Salafi Islam. In addition to the Quran and Hadith, the works of earlier scholars like Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn al-Qayyim and Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab are used for religious guidance. Salafism is, in general, opposed to Sufism as well as sects outside of the Sunni fold, which they regard as heresies. They see their role as a movement to restore Islam from what they perceive to be innovations, superstitions, deviances, and idolatries. Salafists view the first three generations of Muslims, Muhammad's companions and the two succeeding generations after them, the Tabi'un and the Tabi'in, and those who followed in their path as being the best sources in order to understand the foundational principles of Islam, this being the methodology of the Salaf. From this they follow the Athari creed with regards to their beliefs and regarding fiqh, as Sheikh Muhammad ibn al-Uthaymeen once explained, the clearest path is for Muslims who are laymen to follow, do taqlid to, a local scholar or teacher. However, for those who wish to further their knowledge in fiqh, then these Muslims are advised to take learning from a scholar well versed in a particular madhab and study it thoroughly. The methodology predominates mainly in countries such as Saudi Arabia, and other Arabian Peninsula states. There are also minority of adherents in the Indian subcontinent, Egypt, and all over the Muslim world. The Salafis accuse the majority Sunni denomination of shirk due to their practice of wasilah of the prophets and saints. Al-Ikhwan al-Muslimin, the Al-Ikhwan al-Muslimin, or Muslim Brotherhood, is an organization that was founded by Egyptian scholar Hassan al-Banna, a graduate of Dar al-Uloom. With its various branches, it is the largest Sunni movement in the Arab world, and an affiliate is often the largest opposition party in many Arab nations. The Muslim Brotherhood is not concerned with theological differences, accepting Muslims of any of the four Sunni schools of thought. It is the world's oldest and largest Islamist group. Its aims are to re-establish the caliphate and in the meantime push for more Islamization of society. The Brotherhood's stated goal is to instill the Quran and Sunnah as the sole reference point for ordering the life of the Muslim family, individual, community, and state. Jamaat-e-Islami. The Jamaat-e-Islami is an Islamist political party in the Indian subcontinent. It was founded in Lahore, British India, by Sayyid Abul Ala Maududi in 1941 and is the oldest religious party in Pakistan and India. Today, sister organizations with similar objectives and ideological approaches exist in India, Bangladesh, Kashmir, Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka, and there are close brotherly relations with the Islamist movements and missions working in different continents and countries, particularly those affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood or Ikhwan al-Muslimin. The JI envisions an Islamic government in Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan governing by Islamic law. It opposes westernization including capitalism, socialism, or such practices as bank interest, and favors an Islamic economic order and caliphate. Jamaat al-Muslimin. The Jamaat al-Muslimin is a movement in Sunni Islam revived by the Imam Syed Masood Ahmad in the 1960s. The present leader of this group is Muhammad Ishtiaq. Shia Islam. Shia Islam is the second largest denomination of Islam, comprising 25% of the total Muslim population in the world. Shia Muslims, though a minority in the Muslim world, constitute the majority of the populations in Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Iran, and Iraq, as well as a plurality in Lebanon and Yemen. In addition to believing in the authority of the Quran and teachings of Muhammad, Shia believe that his family, the Ahl-al-Bayt, including his descendants known as Imams, have special spiritual and political rule over the community and believe that Ali ibn Abi Talib, Muhammad's cousin and son-in-law, was the first of these Imams and was the rightful successor to Muhammad, and thus reject the legitimacy of the first three Rashidun caliphs. The Shia Islamic faith is broad and includes many different groups. There are various Shia theological beliefs, schools of jurisprudence, philosophical beliefs, and spiritual movements. The Shia identity emerged soon after the martyrdom of Hussein, son of Ali, and Shia theology was formulated in the 2nd century and the first Shia governments and societies were established by the end of the 9th century. An estimate of approximately 25% of the world's Muslims are Shia, which corresponds to about 450 million Shia Muslims worldwide. Shia Muslims also constitute over 40% of the population in Lebanon, over 45% of the population in Yemen, over 40% of the population in Kuwait, 35% of the population in Turkey, 15% of the population in Albania, 25% of the population in Pakistan and 19% of the population in Afghanistan. They also make up at least 15% to 31% of the Muslim populations in India and 15 to 20% in the United Arab Emirates, Syria and Saudi Arabia. Although the total number is difficult to estimate due to the intermingling between the two groups and practice of taqiyya by Shiites. Significant Shia communities exist on the coastal regions of West Sumatra and Aceh in Indonesia. The Shia presence is negligible elsewhere in Southeast Asia, where Muslims are predominantly Shafi'i Sunnis. A significant syncretic Shia minority is present in Nigeria, centered around the state of Kano. East Africa holds several populations of Ismaili Shia, primarily descendants of immigrants from South Asia during the colonial period, such as the Khoja. According to Shia Muslims community, one of the lingering problems in estimating Shia population is that unless Shia form a significant minority in a Muslim country, the entire population is often listed as Sunni. The reverse, however, has not held true, which may contribute to imprecise estimates of the size of each sect. For example, the 1926 rise of the House of Saud in Arabia brought official discrimination against Shia. Shia Islam is divided into three branches. The largest and best known are the 12, named after their adherence to the 12 Imams. They form a majority of the population in Iran, Azerbaijan, Bahrain and Iraq. Other smaller branches include the Ismaili and Zaydi, who dispute the 12 lineage of Imams and beliefs. The 12 Shia faith is predominantly found in Iran, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Iraq, Lebanon, Kuwait, Albania, Pakistan, Afghanistan. The Zaydi dispute the succession of the fifth 12 Imam, Muhammad al-Baqi, because he did not stage a revolution against the corrupt government, unlike Zayd ibn Ali. They do not believe in a normal lineage, but rather that any descendant of Hassan ibn Ali or Hussein ibn Ali who stages a revolution against a corrupt government is an imam. The Zaydi are mainly found in Yemen. The Ismaili dispute the succession of the seventh 12 Imam, Musa al-Kadhim, believing his older brother Ismail ibn Jafar actually succeeded their father Jafar al-Sadiq, and did not predecease him like 12 Shia believe. Ismaili form small communities in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, India, Syria, United Kingdom, Canada, Uganda, Portugal, Yemen, mainland China, Bangladesh and Saudi Arabia and have several sub-branches. 12ers believe in 12 Imams. The 12th Imam is believed to be an occultation, and will appear again just before the Qiyamah. The Shia hadiths include the sayings of the Imams. Many Muslims criticize the Shia for certain beliefs and practices, including practices such as the mourning of Muharram. They are the largest Shia school of thought, predominant in Azerbaijan, Iran, Iraq, Lebanon and Bahrain, and have a significant population in Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, Kuwait and the eastern province of Saudi Arabia. The 12 Shia are followers of either the Ash'ari or Batiniya madhabs. Ash'ari jurisprudence. Followers of the Ash'ari madhab are divided into the following subdivisions, although these are not considered different sects. Usilism the Usili form the overwhelming majority within the 12 Shia denomination. They follow a marj'i taqlid on the subject of taqlid and fiqh. They are concentrated in Iran, Pakistan, Azerbaijan, India, Iraq, and Lebanon. Akhbarism Akhbari, similar to Usilis, however reject Ishhad in favor of hadith. Concentrated in Bahrain. Sharikhism Sharikhism is an Islamic religious movement founded by Sheikh Ahmad in the early 19th century Qajar dynasty, Iran, now retaining a minority following in Iran and Iraq. It began from a combination of Sufi and Shia and Akhbari doctrines. In the mid-19th century many Sarikhis converted to the Babar and Baha'i religions, which regard Sheikh Ahmad highly. Batini jurisprudence. On the other hand, the followers of the Batiniya madhab consist of Alawis and Nasari, who develop their own fiqh system and do not pursue the Ash'ari jurisprudence. Alawism. Alawites are also called Nasari, Nusaras, Naymariya or Ansariya. Their madhab is established by Ibn Asir, and their Aqda is developed by al-Qurtubi the first Bar. They follow Sila Aqda of Maymar ibn Abu on registered trademark Al-Qasim Sulayman ibn Ahmad ibn Tabarana Fiqh of the Alawis. Slightly over 1 million of them live in Syria and Lebanon. Alevism. Alevi Alawites are sometimes categorized as part of 12er Shia Islam, and sometimes as its own religious tradition, as it has markedly different philosophy, customs, and rituals. They have many tasawwuf characteristics and express belief in the Quran and the 12 Imams, but reject polygamy and accept religious traditions predating Islam, like Turkish shamanism. They are significant in East-Central Turkey. They are sometimes considered a Sufi sect, and have an untraditional form of religious leadership that is not scholarship-oriented like other Sunni and Shia groups. They number around 24 million worldwide, of which 17 million are in Turkey, with the rest in the Balkans, Albania, Azerbaijan, Iran and Syria. Anatolian Qizilbashism and Alevi Islamic school of theology. In Turkey, Shia Muslim people belong to the Al-Ari jurisprudence madhab, which tracks back to the 6th Shia Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, are called as the Al-Aris, who belong to 12er Shia. Although the Alevi Turks are being considered as a part of 12er Shia Islam, their belief is different than the Al-Ari jurisprudence in conviction. The Alevi Turks is a unique and perplexed conviction tracing back to Kazanites Shia and Karamites which are considered as Ulat Shia. According to Turkish scholar Abdul Quarter Lbaki Gar paragraph Lpanali, the Qizilbash of the 16th century, a religious and political movement in Azerbaijan that helped to establish the Safavid dynasty, were spiritual descendants of the Karamites. Among the members of the Qizilbash Tarika, who were considered as a subsect of the Alevis, two figures: firstly Abu Muslim Khorasani, who assisted Abbasid Caliphate to beat Umayyad Caliphate, but later eliminated and murdered by Caliph al-Mansur, and secondly Babak Karamdin, who incited a rebellion against the Abbasid Caliphate and consequently was killed by Caliph al-Mutasim, are highly respected. This belief provides strong clues about their Kazanites Shia and Karamites origins. In addition, the Safaviya Tarika leader Ismaili is a highly regarded individual in the belief of Alevi Qizilbash Tarika, associating them with the Imamah conviction of the 12er Shia Islam. Their Aqda is based upon a syncretic fiqh system called as Batiniya Sufism, which incorporates some Kamitian sentiments, originally introduced by Abu on registered trademark El-Khattab Muhammad ibn Abu Zainab al-Asada, and later developed by Maimun al-Qaddah, and his son Ibadi ibn Maimun, and Mutazila with a strong belief in the 12 Imams. Not all of the members believe that the fasting in Ramadan is obligatory, although some Alevi Turks performs their fasting duties partially in Ramadan. Some beliefs of shamanism still are common amongst the Qizilbash Alevi Turkish people in villages. On the other hand, the members of Bektashi order have a conviction of Batiniya Ismailism, and Hurwifism with a strong belief in the 12 Imams. In conclusion, Qizilbash Alevis are not a part of Al-Ari jurisprudence or fiqh, even though they can be considered as members of different tariq of Shia Islam or looks like subclasses of 12er. Their conviction includes Batiniya Hurwifism, and 7er Kamitian's Ismailism sentiments. They all may be considered as special groups not following the Al-Ari jurisprudence, like Alawites who are in the class of Ulat 12er Shia Islam, but a special Batiniya belief somewhat similar to Ismailism in their conviction. In conclusion, 12er branch of Shia Islam Muslim population of Turkey is composed of Mutazila Aqda of Al-Ari jurisprudence madhab, Batiniya Sufism Aqda of Maymuna unregistered trademark Al-Qaddah Fiqh of the Alawite, and Sila Aqda of Maymar ibn Abu unregistered trademark Al-Qasim Sulayman ibn Ahmad ibn Tabarana Fiqh of the Alawites, who altogether constitutes nearly one-third of the whole population of the country. The Alevi Aqda. Some of their members claim that God takes about in the bodies of the human beings, believe in metempsychosis, and consider Islamic law to be not obligatory, similar to antinomianism. Some of the Alevis criticizes the course of Islam as it is being practiced overwhelmingly by more than 99% of Sunni and Shia population. They believe that major additions had been implemented during the time of Umayyads, and easily refuse some basic principles on the grounds that they believe it contradicts with the holy book of Islam, namely the Quran. Regular daily salat and fasting in the holy month of Ramadan are officially not accepted by all members of Alevism. Furthermore, some of the subgroups like Ishakists and Baktashis, who portrayed themselves as Alevis, neither comprehend the essence of the regular daily salat and fasting in the holy month of Ramadan that is frequently accentuated at many times in Quran, nor admits that these principles constitute the ineluctable foundations of the Dawah of Islam as they had been laid down by Allah and they had been practiced in an uninterruptible manner during the period of Prophet Muhammad. Ismail. The Ismailis and Twelvers both accept the same initial imams from the descendants of Muhammad through his daughter Fatima Zahra and therefore share much of their early history. However, a dispute arose on the succession of the sixth imam, Ja'far al-Sadiq. The Ismailis are those who accepted Ja'far's eldest son Ismail as the next imam, whereas the Twelvers accepted a younger son, Musa al-Kazim. Today, Ismailis are concentrated in Pakistan and other parts of South Asia. The Nizari Ismailis, however, are also concentrated in Central Asia, Russia, China, New Zealand, Afghanistan, Papua New Guinea, Syria, Australia, North America, the United Kingdom, Bangladesh and in Africa as well. Nizariya. Nizariya The Nizariya unregistered trademark are the largest branch of Ismailiyya. They are the only Shia group to have their absolute temporal leader in the rank of Imamate, which is currently invested in Aga Khan IV. Their present living Imam is Maulana Shah Karim al-Husseini who is the 49th Imam. Nizari Ismailis believe that the successor Imam to the Fatimid Caliph Mat al-Mustansir Billah was his elder son al-Nizar. Tayyib al-Mustaliya. Mustaliya The Mustali group of Ismaili Muslims differ from the Nizariya in that they believe that the successor Imam to the Fatimid Caliph, al-Mustansir, was his younger son al-Mustaliya, who was made Caliph by the Fatimid regent al-Ufdal Shahanshah. In contrast to the Nizaris, they accept the younger brother al-Mustaliya as their Imam. The Bohras are an offshoot of the Tayyabi, which itself was an offshoot of the Mustali. The Tayyabi, supporting another offshoot of the Mustali, the Hafzi branch, split with the Mustali Fatimid, who recognized al-Amir as their last Imam. The split was due to the Tayyabi believing that At-Tayyibi al-Qasim was the next rightful Imam after al-Amir. The Hafzi themselves however considered al-Hafiz as the next rightful Imam after al-Amir. The Bohras believe that their 21st Imam, Tayyibi al-Qasim, went into seclusion and established the offices of the Da'i al-Mulak, Mazoan and Muqazir. The Bohras are the only surviving branch of the Mustali and themselves have split into the Dawoodi Bohra, Sulaimani Bohra, and Alavi Bohra. Dawoodi Bohra The Dawoodi Bohras are a denomination of the Bohras. After offshooting from the Tayyabi the Bohras split into two, the Dawoodi Bohra and the Sulaimani Bohra, over who would be the correct eye of the community. Concentrated mainly in Pakistan and India. Sulaimani Bohra The Sulaimani Bohra named after their 27th Da'i al-Mulak, Sulaiman ibn Hussein, are a denomination of the Bohras. After offshooting from the Tayyabi the Bohras split into two, the Sulaimani Bohra and the Dawoodi Bohra, over who would be the correct eye of the community. Concentrated mainly in Yemen. Alavi Bohra split from the Dawoodi Bohra over who would be the correct eye of the community. The smallest branch of the Bohras. Hebtiaz Bohra The Hebtiaz Bohra are a branch of Mustali Ismaili Shia Islam that broke off from the mainstream Dawoodi Bohra after the death of the 39th Da'i al-Mulak in 1754. Ibadi Malak The Ibadi Malak Jamaat are a branch of Mustali Ismaili Shia Islam that broke off from the mainstream Dawoodi Bohra after the death of the 46th Da'i al-Mulak, under the leadership of Abdul Hussain Javaji. They have further split into two more branches, the Ibadi Malak Badra and Ibadi Malak Vakil. Druziya. The Druze are a small distinct traditional religion that developed in the 11th century. It began as an offshoot of the Ismaili sect of Islam, but is unique in its incorporation of Gnostic, Neoplatonic and other philosophies. Druze are considered heretical and non-Muslims by most other Muslims because they are believed to address prayers to the Fatimid Caliph al-Hakim bi-Amr, the third Fatimid Caliph of Egypt, whom they regard as a manifestation of God in his unity. The Druze believe that he had been hidden away by God and will return as the Mahdi on Judgment Day. Like Alawis, most Druze keep the tenets of their faith secret, and very few details are known. They neither accept converts nor recognize conversion from their religion to another. They are located primarily in the Levant. Druze in different states can have radically different lifestyles. Some claim to be Muslim, some do not, though the Druze faith itself abides by Islamic principles. Zaydiyya. Zaydiyyas historically come from the followers of Zayd ibn Ali, the great-grandson of Ali b. Abi Talib. They follow any knowledgeable and upright descendant of al-Hasan and al-Husayn, and are less esoteric in focus than Twelverism or Ismailism. Sufism. Sufism is a mystical ascetic form of Islam. By focusing on the more spiritual aspects of religion, Sufis strive to obtain direct experience of God by making use of intuitive and emotional faculties that one must be trained to use. Tasawwuf is regarded as a science of Islam that has always been an integral part of Orthodox Islam. But the Tasawwuf of the Sufis is different insofar as it has historically been accused of innovation by Orthodox scholars throughout the ages. However, in his Al-Rizla al-Safadiyya, Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah defends the Sufis as those who belong to the path of the Sunnah and represent it in their teachings and writings. Jurist and hadith master Ibn Taymiyyah's Sufi inclinations and his reverence for Sufis like Abd al-Qadir Jilani can also be seen in his 100-page commentary on Futu al-Ab, covering only 5 of the 78 sermons of the book, but showing that he considered tasawwuf essential within the life of the Islamic community. In his commentary, Ibn Taymiyyah stresses that the primacy of the Sharia forms the soundest tradition in tasawwuf, and to argue this point he lists over a dozen early masters, as well as more contemporary shaykhs like his fellow Hanbalis, al-Ansari al-Harawi and Abd al-Qadir, and the latter's own Sheikh, Hamad al-Dawbas, the upright among the followers of the path. Like the majority of the early shaykhs such as Fudail ibn Iyad, Ibrahim ibn Adam, Ma'ruf al-Kaki, al-Sari al-Sakati, al-Junayd ibn Muhammad, and others of the early teachers, as well as Sheikh Abd al-Qadir, Sheikh Ahmad, Sheikh Abu al-Bayan and others of the later masters do not permit the followers of the Sufi path to depart from the divinely legislated command and prohibition. Imam Ghazali narrates in Al-Muqtabin al-Dalil, the vicissitudes of life, family affairs and financial constraints engulfed my life and deprived me of the congenial solitude. The heavy odds confronted me and provided me with few moments for my pursuits. This state of affairs lasted for 10 years, but wherever I had some spare and congenial moments I resorted to my intrinsic proclivity. During these turbulent years, numerous astonishing and indescribable secrets of life were unveiled to me. I was convinced that the group of Ahmadiyya is the only truthful group who follow the right path, display best conduct and surpass all sages in their wisdom and insight. They derive all their overt or covert behavior from the illumining guidance of the Holy Prophet, the only guidance worth quest and pursuit. Bektashi. The Bektashi order was founded in the 13th century by the Islamic saint Haji Bektash Veli, and greatly influenced during its formulative period by the Hurufi Ali al-Allah in the 15th century and reorganized by Bailam Sultan in the 16th century. Because of its adherence to the 12 Imams, it is classified under 12er Shia Islam. Bektashi are concentrated in Turkey and Albania and their headquarters are in Albania. Chishti. The Chishti order was founded by Abu Ishaq Shami, who brought Sufism to the town of Chisht, some 95 miles east of Herat in present-day Afghanistan. Before returning to the Levant, Shami initiated, trained and deputized the son of the local emir Abu Ahmad Abdul. Under the leadership of Abu Ahmad, a unregistered trademark's descendants, the Chishtiya as they are also known, flourished as a regional mystical order. Kibriya. The Kibriya order is a Sufi order named after its 13th century founder Namuddin Kubra. The Kibriya Sufi order was founded in the 13th century by Namuddin Kubra in Bukhara in modern Uzbekistan. The Mongols had captured Bukhara in 1221. they committed genocide and killed nearly the whole population. Sheikh Nadjm ad-Din Kubra was among those killed by the Mongols. Mawlawiyya. The Mevlevi order is better known in the West as the Whirling Dervishes. Muridiyya. Murid is a large Islamic Sufi order most prominent in Senegal and the Gambia, with headquarters in the holy city of Touba, Senegal. Naqshbandi. The Naqshbandi order is one of the major Sufi orders of Islam. Formed in 1380, the order is considered by some to be a sober order known for its silent dhikr rather than the vocalized forms of dhikr common in other orders. The word Naqshbandi is Persian, taken from the name of the founder of the order, Bahauddin Naqshband Bukhari. Some have said that the translation means related to the image maker, some also consider it to mean pattern maker rather than image maker, and interpret Naqshbandi to mean reformer of patterns, and others consider it to mean way of the chain, or golden chain. As mentioned below, the conception of Naqshbandi may require more elaboration and clarity as the explanation to this effect creating ambiguity and complicity within it. The meanings of Naqshbandi is to follow the pattern of head of the former. In other words, Naqshbandi may be taken as follow-up or like a flow chart of practices exercised by the head of this school of thought. Ni'matullahi. The Ni'matullahi order is the most widespread Sufi order of Persia today. It was founded by Shah Ni'matullah Wali, established and transformed from his inheritance of the Marifiyya circle. There are several sub-orders in existence today, the most known and influential in the West following the lineage of Dr. Javad Nurbakhsh, who brought the order to the West following the 1979 revolution in Iran. Naqshbandi does not meant for images or patterns followed by the followers of this school of thoughts. Naqshbandi means the flow chart, or to follow the sayings and doings of former. Nurbakhshi. The Nurbakhshi, also called Nubakhshi, is an Islamic sect in the Sufi order and way that claims to trace its direct spiritual lineage and chain to the Islamic prophet Muhammad, through Ali, by way of Imam Ali al-Rida. This order became famous as Nurbakhshi after Shah Syed Muhammad Nurbakhsh Kistani, who was attached with Kibriya order Sufi order. Owaisi. The Owaisi order claimed to be founded 1,400 years ago by Awais al-Qarni from Yemen. Awais received the teachings of Islam inwardly through his heart and lived by the principles taught by him, although he had never physically met Muhammad. At times Muhammad would say of him, "I feel the breath of the merciful, coming to me from Yemen." Shortly before Muhammad died, he directed Umar and Ali to take his cloak to Awais. According to Ali Hudari, Farid ad-Din Attar of Nishapur and Sheikh Muhammad Ada Bagheri, the first recipient of Muhammad's cloak was Awais al-Qarni. The original cloak, as it is known, is thought to have passed down the generations from the Prophet Abraham to Muhammad, to Awais al-Qarni, and so on. The Owaisi order exists today in various forms and in different countries. According to Dr. Alan Godlers of the University of Georgia's Department of Religion, a Sufi order or tariq known as the Owaisi is very active, having been introduced in the West by the 20th century Sufi, Shah Masud Anga. The Owaisi order is a Shia branch of the Kibriya. Godlers writes that there are two recent and distinct contemporary branches of the Owaisi order in the West, Owaisi Tarayat, led by Shah Masud Said Anga's daughter, Saidi Dr. Naid Anga, and her husband Shah Nazar Said Ali Kianfar. Dr. Anga and Dr. Kianfar went on to found another, the International Association of Sufism, which operates in California and organizes international Sufi symposia. Now developed into an international non-profit organization, the Owaisi order has over 500,000 students with centers spanning 5 continents. With the use of modern technology and reach of the Internet, weekly webcasts of the Order's lecture and ZKR sessions are broadcast live through the Order's official website. Qadri. The Qadri order is one of the oldest Sufi orders. It derives its name from Abdul Qadir Jilani, a native of the Iranian province of Garloen. The order is one of the most widespread of the Sufi orders in the Islamic world, and can be found in Central Asia, Turkey, Balkans and much of East and West Africa. The Qadiriyya have not developed any distinctive doctrines or teachings outside of mainstream Islam. They believe in the fundamental principles of Islam, but interpreted through mystical experience. Shadiliyya. The Shadili is a Sufi order founded by Abu al-Hasan ash-Shadili. Followers of the Shadhiliyya are often known as Shadhilis. Suhrawardiyya. The Suhrawardiyya order is a Sufi order founded by Abu al-Najib al-Suhrawardi. Tijaniyya. The Tijaniyyan order attach a large importance to culture and education, and emphasize the individual adhesion of the disciple. Ahmadiyya Islam. The Ahmadiyya movement was founded in India in 1889 by Md. Ahmad, who claimed to be the promised Messiah, the Mahdi awaited by the Muslims and a subordinate prophet within Islam. The followers are divided into two groups, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community and the Lahore Ahmadiyya movement for the propagation of Islam, the former believing that Ahmad was a non-law-bearing prophet and the latter believing that he was only a religious reformer though a prophet in an allegorical sense. Ahmadis consider themselves Muslims and claim to practice the pristine form of Islam as re-established with the teachings of Ahmad. Ahmadiyya community. It originated with the life and teachings of Md. Ahmad, who claimed to have fulfilled the prophecies of the world's reformer during the end times, who was to herald the Ischatan as predicted in the traditions of various world religions and bring about the final triumph of Islam as per Islamic prophecy. He claimed that he was the Mujaddid of the 14th Islamic century, the promised Messiah and Mahdi awaited by Muslims. The adherents of the Ahmadiyya movement are referred to as Ahmadis or Ahmadi Muslims. Ahmadi's thought emphasizes the belief that Islam is the final dispensation for humanity as revealed to Muhammad and the necessity of restoring to it its true essence and pristine form, which had been lost through the centuries. Thus, Ahmadis view themselves as leading the revival and peaceful propagation of Islam. The Ahmadis were among the earliest Muslim communities to arrive in Britain and other Western countries. Ahmadiyya adherents believe that God sent Ahmad, in the likeness of Jesus, to end religious wars, condemn bloodshed and reinstitute morality, justice and peace. They believe that he divested Islam of fanatical beliefs and practices by championing what is in their view, Islam a unregistered trademark as true and essential teachings as practiced by the Prophet Muhammad. The Ahmadiyya community is the larger community of the two arising from the Ahmadiyya movement and is guided by the Khalifa, currently Caliphate al-Mawzi V, who is the spiritual leader of Ahmadis and the successor to Md. Ahmad. He is called the Caliphate al-Mawzi, successor of the Messiah. Lahore Ahmadiyya movement. The Lahore Ahmadiyya movement, also known as the Lahoris, formed as a result of ideological differences within the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, after the demise of Maulana Hakim Nuruddin in 1914, the first Khalifa after its founder, Md. Ahmad. The main dispute was based on differing interpretations of a verse, Quran 33:40, related to the finality of prophethood. Other issues of contention were the kalima, funeral prayers, and the suitability of the elected Caliph Md. Bashir-ud-Din Mahmud Ahmad. The Lahore Ahmadiyya movement is led by a president or emir. Qurayite Islam. Qurayite is a general term embracing a variety of Muslim sects which, while originally supporting the Caliphate of Ali, later on fought against him and eventually succeeded in his martyrdom while he was praying in the Mosque of Kufa. While there are few remaining Qurayite or Qurayite-related groups, the term is sometimes used to denote Muslims who refuse to compromise with those with whom they disagree. Ibadi, the only surviving Qurayite sect is the Ibadi. The sect developed out of the 7th century Islamic sect of the Kharijites. Nonetheless, Ibadis see themselves as quite different from the Qurayite. Believed to be one of the earliest schools, it is said to have been founded less than 50 years after the death of Muhammad. It is the dominant form of Islam in Oman, but small numbers of Ibadi followers may also be found in countries in northern and eastern Africa. The early medieval Rustamid dynasty in Algeria was Ibadi. Ibadis usually consider non-Ibadi Muslims as unbelievers, though nowadays this attitude has highly relaxed. They approve of the caliphates of Abu Bakr and Umar ibn al-Khattab, whom they regard as the two rightly guided caliphs. Specific beliefs include, waliyah, friendship and unity with the practicing true believers and the Ibadi imams. Bara'ah, dissociation and hostility towards unbelievers and sinners. And Waqf, reservation towards those whose status is unclear. While Ibadi Muslims maintain most of the beliefs of the original Kharijites, they have rejected the more aggressive methods. The Sufi were a sect of Islam in the 7th and 8th centuries, and a part of the Kharijites. They believe Surah 12 of the Quran is not an authentic surah. Other sects, Quranism. Quranism is an Islamic branch that holds the Quran to be the only canonical text in Islam. Quranists reject the religious authority of Hadith and often Sunnah, libraries compiled by later scholars who catalogued narratives of what the Prophet Muhammad is reported to have said and done. This is in contrast to Orthodox Muslims, Shias and Sunnis, who consider Hadith essential for the Islamic faith. Al-Quran is an organization formed by Abdullah Chakralawi, rely entirely on the chapters and verses of the Quran. Tolui Islam is an organization based in Pakistan, with followers throughout the world. The movement was initiated by Ghulam Ahmed Pervez, a Quranic scholar. Submitters. The United Submitters International is a branch of Quranism, founded by Rashad Khalifa. Submitters considers themselves to be adhering to true Islam, but prefer not to use the terms Muslim, or Islam, instead using the English equivalents, submitter, or submission. Submitters consider Khalifa to be a messenger of God. Specific beliefs of the USI include, the dedication of all worship practices to God alone, upholding the Quran alone with the exception of 2 rejected Quran verses, and rejecting the Islamic traditions of Hadith and Sunnah attributed to Muhammad. The main group attends Masjid Tucson in Arizona, USA. Moorish Science. The Moorish Science Temple of America is an American organization founded in 1913 AD by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose name at birth was Timothy Drew. He claimed it was a sect of Islam, but he also drew inspiration from Buddhism, Christianity, Gnosticism and Taoism. Its significant divergences from mainstream Islam and strong African American ethnic character make its classification as an Islamic denomination a matter of debate among Muslims and scholars of religion. Its primary tenet was the belief that they are the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. The organization also believes that their descendants after being conquered in Spain are slaves who were captured and held in slavery from 1779 to 1865 by their slaveholders. Although often criticized as lacking scientific merit, adherents of the Moorish Science Temple of America believe that the Negroid Asiatic was the first human inhabitant of the Western Hemisphere. In their religious texts, adherents refer to themselves as Asiatics, presumably referring to the non-Mongoloid Paleo-Americans. These adherents also call themselves indigenous Moors, American Moors, or Moorish Americans in contradistinction to African Moors, or African Americans. Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam was founded by Wallace Fard Muhammad in Detroit in 1930, with a declared aim of resurrecting the spiritual, mental, social and economic condition of the black man and woman of America and the world. It is viewed by almost all Muslims as a heretical cult. The group believes Fard Muhammad was God on earth, a belief viewed as shirk by mainstream Muslims. It does not see Muhammad as the final prophet, but Elijah Muhammad as the messenger of truth, and only allows people of black ethnicity and believes they are the original race on earth. In 1975, the teachings were abandoned and the group was renamed the American Society of Muslims by Warithdin Muhammad, the son of Elijah Muhammad. He brought the group into mainstream Sunni Islam, establishing mosques instead of temples and promoting the 5 pillars of Islam. Thousands of African Americans joined Imam Muhammad in mainstream Islam. Some members were dissatisfied, including Louis Farrakhan, who revived the group again in 1978 with the same teachings of the previous leaders. It currently has from 30,000 to 70,000 members. Madhavism. Madhavi Islam is a sect within Islam founded by Syed Muhammad Jaunpuri in India in the 15th century CE. Jaunpuri declared himself to be the Imam Mahdi, the prophesied Redeemer in Islam, and the denomination takes its name from the term Mahdi. Madhavis follow the doctrine of al-Sunnat wal Jamaat. Mahdi-e-Maud is believed to have said Mazhab Markatub al-Itba'i Rasul Allah. The Madhavi regard Jaunpuri as the Imam Mahdi, the Caliph of Allah and the second most important figure after the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Both the Prophet and Imam are considered to be Masum. Messiah Foundation International. Messiah Foundation International is a Pakistani Islamic sect. Zikri is claimed to be based around the teachings of Muhammad Jaunpuri. In religious practice, the Zikris differ greatly from mainstream Muslims and the Madhavis. A main misconception that Zikris perform prayers called dhikr 5 times a day is a major one, in which sacred verses are recited, as compared to the orthodox practice of Salat. Most Zikris live in Balochistan, but a large number also live in Karachi, the Sindh interior, Oman and Iran. 5%er, the 5% nation was founded in the early 20th century in the United States. Related concepts: Islamism. Islamism is a term that refers to a set of political ideologies, derived from various fundamentalist views, which hold that Islam is not only a religion but a political system that should govern the legal, economic and social imperatives of the state. Many Islamists do not refer to themselves as such, and it is not a single particular movement. Religious views and ideologies of its adherents vary, and they may be Sunni Islamists or Shia Islamists depending upon their beliefs. Islamist groups include groups such as Al-Qaeda, the organizer of the September 11, 2001 attacks and perhaps the most prominent, and the Muslim Brotherhood, perhaps the oldest. Although violence is often employed by some organizations, not all Islamist movements are violent. Liberals. Liberal and progressive movements have in common a religious outlook which depends mainly on ijtihad or reinterpretations of scriptures. Liberal Muslims believe in greater autonomy of the individual in interpretation of scripture, a critical examination of religious texts, gender equality, human rights, LGBT rights and a modern view of culture, tradition, and other ritualistic practices in Islam. See also, List of extinct Shia sects, Islamic studies, Succession to Muhammad, Shia-Sunni relations, Shiite crescent, references. External links, online fatwa site, questions and answers, the 4 Sunni schools of thought, Ask Imam, Islam Q&A islam-qa.com website, online Islamic learning, Sufism, Islamic science of spirituality.